What if I told you that Satanism isn't what you think it is? That it's not about devil worship, secret cults, or dark rituals, at least, not in the way popular culture has portrayed it for decades. Satanism has been surrounded by mystery, fear, and a lot of misconceptions, but in reality it's a complex, diverse, and even misunderstood movement with deep historical roots. From its origins in Christian mythology to its rise as a modern-day philosophy and even a form of social activism, Satanism has evolved over the centuries. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into the fascinating history of Satanism, where it all began, how it evolved, and what it really means for those who follow it today. We'll explore the origins of satanic beliefs, meet key figures like Crowley and LaVey, and look at how modern groups like the Satanic Temple are shaping its future. Now, just a quick note, this video is a historical exploration, meaning we're here to learn, not to judge or endorse any particular belief system, so whether you're curious, skeptical, or just want to understand more, stick around, let's get started. So, what exactly is Satanism? In its simplest form, Satanism refers to a collection of beliefs and practices that use Satan as a symbol. But, and this is really important, most Satanists don't actually believe in Satan as a real supernatural being. Now, thanks to movies, TV shows, and popular culture, Satanism is often associated with dark rituals, sacrifices, and devil worship. But the reality is very different. Satanism, in most of its forms, is far more about philosophy and self-empowerment than anything occult or sinister. In fact, Satanism is an umbrella term with many interpretations. For example, there's LaVeyan Satanism, which is probably the most well-known. Founded by LaVey in 1966, this version sees Satan not as a literal being but as a symbol of rebellion, individualism, and questioning authority. It's essentially a form of atheism that uses Satan as a metaphor. On the other hand, there's Theistic Satanism, where followers actually view Satan as a real spiritual entity, someone to be revered or worshipped. Unlike LaVeyan Satanists, Theistic Satanists tend to have more religious or supernatural beliefs. So, as you can see, Satanism is far from one-dimensional. It has different branches, each with its own beliefs and practices. But how did it all start? Let's take a look at the origins of Satanism in history. To understand the origins of Satanism, we need to look back at how the figure of Satan was viewed in early Christian times. In the Bible, Satan, originally seen as the adversary, isn't just a figure of pure evil, but a challenger, someone who tests human faith and morality. However, over time, especially in the writings of early Christian theologians, Satan became the embodiment of evil, a symbol of everything that opposed God and goodness. By the Middle Ages, this view of Satan had solidified into something far darker, a terrifying being associated with temptation, sin, and damnation. Fast forward to the Middle Ages in Europe, and the fear of Satan reached new heights during the infamous witch hunts. This was a period where anything considered heretical or unchristian was believed to be influenced by Satan. Women, outcasts, and even religious minorities were accused of making pacts with the devil, committing witchcraft to harm others or gain forbidden knowledge. During these witch hunts, thousands of people were tortured and executed based on the belief that they were in league with Satan. In reality, these accusations were often rooted in fear, superstition, and even political motives rather than actual satanic practices. But by the 17th and 18th centuries, during the Enlightenment, things began to shift. This was a time when society was turning more toward reason and science. Yet, despite this newfound rationality, the occult, hidden or secret knowledge, began to fascinate certain groups. Secret societies like the Freemasons and the Rosicrucians, though not satanic, stirred rumors of dark rituals and hidden satanic worship. In fact, early satanic rumors started to emerge around this time. Some saw these secret groups as dabbling in magic, while others accused them of outright satanic worship. The figure of Satan, once a religious adversary, was starting to be seen in a different light, more as a symbol of rebellion, knowledge, and challenging authority, echoing the philosophical changes happening during this period. So, while Satanism as we know it today didn't quite exist in these earlier times, the fear and fascination surrounding the figure of Satan certainly laid the groundwork. These early associations with rebellion, heresy, and secret knowledge would eventually evolve into the organized forms of Satanism we see in the 20th century. Next, let's take a look at how Satanism truly began to take shape with figures like Crowley and LaVey. To understand the birth of modern Satanism, we first have to talk about Crowley, a figure who left an undeniable mark on the occult world. Born in 1875, Crowley wasn't technically a Satanist. but his work in the realms of mysticism and esotericism deeply influenced later forms of Satanism. Crowley founded the religion of Thelema, which taught that individuals should follow their true will, essentially the idea of living according to one's inner purpose. Though Crowley didn't worship Satan, his philosophies of personal freedom, anti-authoritarianism, and ritual magic laid the groundwork for future occult movements, including modern Satanism. But it was in 1966 with a man named LaVey that Satanism as we know it today truly began. LaVey founded the Church of Satan in San Francisco, and what he created wasn't just a religious group, it was a full-blown philosophy of individualism and rebellion against societal norms. LaVeyan Satanism, the philosophy that LaVey promoted, doesn't involve the worship of Satan as a real being. Instead, Satan is seen as a symbol, representing human nature, indulgence, and the rejection of traditional religious dogma. In 1969, LaVey published the Satanic Bible, which outlined his beliefs in self-empowerment, materialism, and the pursuit of pleasure and knowledge. This book became the foundational text for modern Satanism. LaVey's version of Satanism was all about individualism and the power of the self. He encouraged his followers to embrace their desires, stand against hypocritical societal values, and take control of their own destinies. For LaVey, Satan symbolized the ultimate rebel, someone who defied authority and refused to conform to rigid moral codes. But not all Satanists follow LaVeyan philosophy. Today, Satanism exists in several different forms. The most well-known is still LaVeyan Satanism, which, as I mentioned earlier, is non-theistic. It doesn't view Satan as a deity, but as a metaphor for personal freedom and empowerment. However, there's also theistic Satanism, where followers believe in Satan as a literal being. These Satanists often have spiritual or religious practices that involve worshiping Satan as a deity or dark force. Their beliefs can vary widely, but they generally focus on Satan as a liberating figure. One of the most notable offshoots of modern Satanism is the Satanic Temple. Unlike the Church of Satan, the Satanic Temple is highly political, focusing on social justice, the separation of church and state, and the defense of religious freedom. Their activism often includes provocative stunts to challenge the role of Christianity in public spaces. But like LaVeyan Satanists, they don't actually believe in Satan as a supernatural being. LaVeyan Satanism is non-theistic, focusing on individual empowerment and using Satan as a symbol of rebellion. Theistic Satanism views Satan as a real deity or spiritual figure, and the Satanic Temple promotes political activism, using Satan as a symbol for social justice and secularism. Each of these branches reflects a different interpretation of Satanism, but they all share a common theme, using the figure of Satan as a way to challenge authority, question religious norms, and embrace individualism. So, what does modern Satanism look like today in practice? For many Satanists, rituals are symbolic and theatrical, rather than religious. One of the most well-known is the Black Mass, which in LaVeyan Satanism is a parody of traditional Christian ceremonies used to mock religious dogma and emphasize individual freedom. There are also holidays like Walpurgisnacht, celebrated on April 30th, which has roots in old European pagan traditions. In Satanism, it's considered a night of celebration, symbolizing freedom from societal constraints and a time for self-reflection. Satanism has become more visible in modern culture, often through its influence in media, art, and political activism. Musicians, filmmakers, and artists have long used satanic imagery to challenge authority, provoke thought, or make a statement about freedom of expression. Groups like the Satanic Temple have become significant players in modern culture, using Satanism as a platform to advocate for religious freedom, separation of church and state, and other social justice issues. Their activism, like fighting to keep religious monuments out of public spaces, has sparked conversations about freedom of belief and the role of religion in government. The Satanic Temple has grown rapidly in recent years, especially due to its bold activism. From challenging religious symbols in public spaces to advocating for women's reproductive rights, the Satanic Temple uses Satanism as a way to promote equality and challenge the dominance of religious institutions in political life. While they don't believe in Satan as a deity, they use his image to represent rebellion against tyranny and the fight for personal autonomy. Now let's address some of the biggest misconceptions about Satanism. In the 1980s, the US was gripped by what became known as the Satanic Panic, a moral panic where people believed that secret satanic cults were abusing children and committing violent crimes. These claims were widely debunked, but not before ruining lives and careers. Despite the lack of evidence, these fears shaped the public's perception of Satanism for decades. Even today, Satanism is often tied to conspiracy theories involving so-called satanic cabals in positions of power, but these ideas are just that, conspiracies. Much of the media continues to misrepresent Satanism as something evil or dangerous. In reality, most modern Satanists, especially those in groups like the Church of Satan or the Satanic Temple, are focused on philosophical or political beliefs, far from the sinister depictions we often see in movies or TV. In short, the myth of Satanism as a violent or malevolent force doesn't match the reality of what most Satanists believe and practice. So, as we've seen, Satanism has a complex and fascinating history. From its early roots in Christian mythology to its modern-day role in social and political activism, Satanism has always been a symbol of rebellion, freedom, and the questioning of authority. Whether it's LaVeyan Satanism's focus on individual empowerment, or the Satanic Temple's fight for religious freedom, Satanism has become a platform for those who seek to challenge traditional power structures. As with any belief system or movement, it's important to separate fact from fiction and approach the subject with an open mind. Satanism may not be what you think it is, and it's certainly worth learning more about. So what's your view on modern Satanism? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this video interesting, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into misunderstood topics. If you found this video interesting and want to learn more about misunderstood movements, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below, whether it's your take on modern Satanism, or if you have any questions I didn't cover. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on my next video, where we'll dive even deeper into the world of mysticism, occultism, and more intriguing topics. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.